podcast, heatwrestling.com. We are live with the man who is one half of the Wrestle Ants, RJ City. RJ, how you doing today?
I'm okay. I have a couple issues.
Uh-oh.
One, I guess, with this group, and then one with you personally.
Okay. Well, how you want to fire off?
First of all, I think that was an inappropriate intro song for me. It made me feel uncomfortable. I don't feel like I'm capable of rising to meet it.
I think we're gonna have enough heat inlaid in this that we shouldn't have any issues with that.
Jazz, Zydeco music, Brian Setzer, anything else I could handle. That feels like that genre was beyond me. Number one. Number two, I will say this. I spoke to you today regarding the Wrestle Ants brunch and variety show at Starcast, yes, which, even though they want to probably announce it tomorrow, is Friday morning.
Yes.
10 a.m. Texas time, whatever time it is in Texas.
In Texas, 10 a.m. That is correct.
Thank you. I'm just going to say Texas time. Let's pretend it's in many ways, Texas is its own
Texas time.
And I spoke to you and Renee about a little group message.
Yes.
And then you messaged me on the side.
I did.
And asked me about coming on this program this evening, which obviously I'm happy to do or obligated.
You said yes.
Yes. My question is, why didn't you ask Renee? Because no one ever bothers Renee. Everyone is so afraid of Renee. Always, all the time. I always get asked up. And I said, I'm doing this. She's like, why didn't you ask me? Not that she would have done it. But the point is, why didn't you ask Renee to?
I did not ask Renee because I have worked with her husband on the independent scene. I am scared shitless of John Moxley. So I defer to not asking Renee.
Right. So the residual, he's so disagreeable and intimidating that it puts a protective bubble around Renee also.
And she is one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Oh, well, of course she is, because no one's bothering her.
Yes.
I would be nice too. No one's bothering me.
Yes.
Of course she would. Why not? She doesn't do anything all day. My other theory was that it's really obvious that I have no other obligation.
Do I believe your schedule is freer? I don't, but I believe if we had a chance of doing this in the next 24 to 48 hours, you were probably going to be the easy putt, so to speak.
Thanks. I'm the easy putt of professional wrestling.
And listen, it could be worse. We could have Daddy Magic here, so I figured this is
he's available.
Always
I can call
available.
Him right now.
Always available. So yeah. I just want to get things started.
Oh,
so I came prepared from your vast interview repertoire of things, and I brought my own, so I wanted to make sure. But I want to start off with the first question. Why have you had such a long, convoluted history with Starcast?
So, my issues with Starcast begin at the first ever Starcast. I was not on All In, but I was around. I was in the area, and the day after All In, I was teaming with David Arquette against, many people say one of the greatest tag teams of all time, Frank the Clown and James Ellsworth.
Main event anywhere.
Yeah, I go Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens, Rock and Roll Express, and then I would say Frank and James Ellsworth for sure. So I was there, and then David is not good at agreeing to things. So he was going to be there, and then I was also going to be there, and I wasn't sure what I was doing. It was quite frankly a mess. And he got a tattoo there. That was the extent of his Starcast experience. And then, you guys are just greenlighting all these, for lack of a better term, shows. And it'll be like the Paul Roma Hour. And he's talking about his guy. I'm like, well, why am I not on this? Is it that hard? And then your social media director, took it upon himself to think, it'll be funny to be announced to then get pulled from Starcast. That'll be a fun bit. And it's a fun bit if I'm actually on the show. It's fun for him. His pay doesn't change no matter what he eats. Mine does. My whole week hinged on it. And 2 years ago, we did the Starcast in Chicago.
We finally did it.
Yep, after All Out or before All Out, and I did a. Well, let me continue to air my grievances about Starcast.
That's okay.
We did this awful thing because I guess it's just about vomiting as much content as possible.
That's why we're here.
Yes, they put my show on at the same time as Ryan Nemeth's comedy show. So if you loved wrestling stand-up comedy, this was like Sophie's Choice. You were going to be a little disappointed either way.
So to be clear, I make no scheduling decisions. I am just the guy who gets to write the format and sit down and ask you to do these shows to help promote the selling product.
Yes. So I was so aggrieved by that incident that one of my questions this year was, what are the other shows happening at the same time as ours? And I was assured nothing else.
I am staring at the schedule, and July 11th, 10 a.m. Texas time, to 11:15 a.m. Texas time. The only thing listed on the schedule is Wrestle Ants Brunch and Variety Show.
Great. And that, let me also say, that is officially, as far as I'm concerned, brunch time.
Yes, 10 a.m. Texas time.
Texas time. Now, what other photo ops are going on at the same time?
That I can't answer for. I do know the convention happens to be opening at the exact same.
So wait a minute. We're starting as people are going to be filing in, and we're going to have to be like, take your seats, everyone.
I believe that might be part of it. I believe somehow there is something before the convention floor is open, but I'm sure that might just be
just like an opening prayer or something.
That might just be a time scheduling correction at some point.
Yeah, it would be nice. We're gonna have to stall for 5 minutes, and then once we realize how poorly attended it is, I go, well, I guess we'll begin.
I mean, from what we talked about earlier today, there are some surprises in store for the brunch.
Yes.
As long as everybody knows when to arrive.
Yes.
Timing-wise.
And if this is an incentive to anyone, there will be brunch.
Yeah, I haven't got that confirmed yet.
If you guys drop the ball, I will ensure this brunch. It was my idea to call it brunch. I fucked myself. I put this on my back, and now the brunch burden is mine.
Now, I heard the stories that you came to the table with the idea for the brunch. Is that accurate?
No, I tweeted it.
Oh.
And then DM'd Conrad, who was busy, I guess, pretending to listen to Tony Schiavone. And he said, yeah, okay, I guess we'll do it.
And then it was announced.
Yeah. I don't think JBL and I have been in the same building before.
I don't know.
He's not going to be there. He's not going to be there. He left already.
I know he's scheduled on the 12th. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Good. Then I can make jokes about him. That makes me feel better.
You don't want to hang out for the Kerry Von Erich, Stan Hansen, Dory Funk, JBL Texas Legends reunion?
Why am I not moderating this?
I think
because when you think of Texas Legends,
it is RJ.
Yeah, you need someone to moderate it. There's a real Midnight Cowboy vibe going on here.
I believe JBL is actually the moderator. So
sorry, I'll say it. Guy's not a moderator.
Yeah, that one's gonna be interesting. Hey, listen, JBL, Stan Hansen, Kerry Von Erich, Dory Funk. Who's gonna be able to stop talking?
Right. He's not. It's gonna be awful because you don't have a real moderator. It's gonna be red-faced men yelling. And everyone's going to go, I can't make out a word they're saying. I'm going to sit in the back going, I should have moderated this.
Listen, it's at 10 a.m. Texas time the next day. So if you just happen to show up at the wrong day, at the wrong time.
Right. They're going to eat some of my leftover brunch.
Right. I mean, Stan Hansen handing out lariats with coffee. That sounds like a variety show.
That's excellent. So yeah, let's talk about this. What are you expecting from the Wrestle Ants Brunch and Variety Show?
I expect nothing more than an hour and 15 minutes of pure hilarity, which is just like every pregame show that you guys do. I am hoping, honestly, that Jeff Jarrett stumbles across the stage at some point, hits somebody with a guitar, because I think that's the right punch for a go home brunch. But that's just me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Right.
What do I expect? I hope you guys get some coffee from Claudio's Cafe.
How big is that bag? Are you able to handle that coffee? That's a hefty.
It is a big bag. I am only halfway through, but it's exemplary coffee, and there's 3 flavors available at claudioscafe.cc. And I heard that Claudio might be forcing himself to be the coffee distributor for Wrestle Ants Brunch. So
wow, what an industrious man! And what is that, a whole bean, or are they already roasted?
They are roasted. They are roasted in the bag, and it is delightful. And I'm enjoying a swig of it as we speak with the espresso to make sure I'm awake here at 8:00 on the East Coast, New Jersey time.
Of course.
But my question for you is, if Claudio says, Renee, we kind of need to do this, are you going to follow that?
The coffee? Absolutely. Claudio, I will say, makes it his mission before shows to seek out the absolute best coffee in any town that we were in. Yes. And, you know, so many wrestlers have no taste. They don't even have poor taste. They just have a moot palate. They're like, oh, we should go to Buc-ee's and get coffee. That's really nice. Like, these are the people I'm often dealing with. So anytime there is someone with a small semblance of quality, I would gravitate towards them. So if Claudio tells you something's good, it's going to be good. Whereas someone like perhaps Prince Nana may not know the best kind of coffee. Also, I want to point out, I have my own coffee. I don't know how deep you got in your notes.
I did.
But I do have a coffee called High Anxiety at ruthlesscoffee.com. Also, Dustin Rhodes now has a coffee there, but I was there years before that.
Seems to be a burdening place for professional wrestling is their own coffees.
Yeah, I think he's really riding my coattails.
Speaking of riding coattails, your time in AEW.
Yes. What about it?
Your show is one of the highlights every week for our AEW fans. And the concept, the idea, how did you come up with it? How did it all come together? And what's been the highlight of it?
Well, it was all Tony Khan's fault. So all the complaints have to go directly to him. I was working.
Seems to be a theme.
Yes. Was working at WWE for a little bit, mainly from this setup here. I don't know why they let me do the things I did. And then, a big tide came in and washed everything away. And I was tweeting about pictures that I had made to them that never materialized. And next thing I know, I get a DM from Tony Khan saying, you're not working there anymore? He's like, well, why don't you come here and do that and sit down interviews? So that was his idea. I don't know why he unleashed me like that. I don't know why he is yet to give me a note. And he also put his, I guess, questionable stamp of approval by being my second guest.
Yes.
If you have the boss, who's going to say no? Turns out a decent amount of people. But still, the gesture was there. I thought it was very nice. And we have since done, as of today, the episode with Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. If it's not the 150th episode, I think it's very close to it. Might be 148, 149. We're off next week. We'll be back after that with another insane name. I may also be trying to grab some interviews at Starcast. We have a little closet they've given me.
Have you been to this closet?
I will come out of it and everyone will go, oh, that makes sense. But I have not seen it as of yet.
Anybody in particular that you want to name that you've asked that has said no?
No, only because there have been people who have said no before and they've ended up saying yes. So I always take no as a not right now because circumstances change and people also realize if I do this interview, he'll never bother me again.
That's true.
So that's probably better. 10 minutes of this shit is better than a lifetime of this shit.
Have you I don't think you've had a return guest yet, have you? Have you done the same person twice?
Kind of. Danhausen has been on a couple times, although I really don't consider him a guest at all. He's more of a specter on the show, and I say that in the Phil sense. Who else? Matt Hardy, technically. He was on one solo. He was on once with his brother. Action Andretti has snuck onto the show twice. I don't know how that happened. A few guests like that, but more often than not, I try to have a new guest every episode.
Christine from the chat dropped in and said, you're on episode 148. So
148.
Sounds like you need to make 150 almost all in size. So it sounds like maybe, it's going to be a big.
Of the guest list of Starcast, who do you think would be willing to do the show?
Oh, the guest list of Starcast.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a lot. Let's think. Just taking a look. It's got to be Monty Brown, right?
No, he doesn't do anything.
Right.
He says no to things constantly.
Right. So that's got to be that's got to be the bar.
No, but I'm saying, who do you think would actually do it?
Realistically?
Yeah.
JBL.
Great. Okay. Well, if he wants to do it,
a microphone and JBL,
save your money or whatever the thing he does.
He's not going to say no to a microphone in front of his face.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I think, you look at him, you look at me, and you go, these two guys are going to get along.
Did you think a year later, Conrad and JBL would still be doing the podcast?
Yes, because Conrad has no soul, and he would acclimate to whoever's talking whatever shit. Which is great, which is really his skill, is to have no sense of judgment. Sure, Bischoff, say whatever you want. Sounds good to me. And he always this is his talent, making neutral statements in response.
It is an art form that not many have mastered.
Right. To not really take a stance either way. I think it's very brave of him. Yet, I'm so happy we could all come together next week to give him a 10% cut.
I really more than that. Speaking of someone to get on, Ric Flair.
Yes. So Ric Flair was on my original WWE comedy special, WrestleMania After Dark.
Yes.
And now I guess Tony Hinchcliffe is doing something with them, which is the same as mine, just without actual jokes. But Rick was great. He talked about the night he partied with Hervé Villachez. I mean, nowhere else. Sometimes I think the joy of my show is asking stupid questions and then being blown away when I get a stupider answer that is also completely real.
I think my highlight, because remember, your time there was almost like a fever dream. Like it was kind of like no one really knew. Like, did anyone actually know this was happening?
No.
And
I was the crazy name down the hall.
Yeah. And I remember watching one of them with somebody, and someone texted me from inside WWE and said, "Are you watching this?" And I said, "I am." And he said, "This is the best content we put out. And we just got done WrestleMania. And this is 10 times better than what we aired tonight." And I said, "Okay, but if you put it in front of anybody who's going to kind of realize this, you know how quickly the show gets pulled off?" And they went, "Oh, absolutely."
Exactly. Yes. And that is also why Tony Khan is successful.
Yes. The flexibility
and also hey, let's at least try to do something good.
Right.
Doesn't always land, but that's not the joy of AEW. The joy of AEW is trying to make something good.
Yes. And things that land, like Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Things that land, like Ric Flair as a heel, babyface manager for Sting. It's just all those things that merge, things you never expected to have in wrestling. It's AEW.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, having Ben Mankiewicz involved in any capacity in professional wrestling, didn't think it was possible. Feels so wrong in one sense, but also feels so right.
There have been more crossover opportunities from AEW that has been more entertaining than, okay, I'll say it, Jelly Roll. Who cares?
And to do what? Oh God, I went blurry. I was so
you went blurry. You freaked out there.
That's so true. I will say, I get rarely jealous of Tony Khan because he's got so much on the go. I don't understand how he does all of this or has enthusiasm for any of it. But the one thing where I'm like, I want to do that is his ability to pick music and licensed music. I love it. He picked a Randy Newman song once when we were in Minnesota I think it was just for a video on social media.
Yeah.
But it was like, really, I go back to taste. I don't know if he knows the best coffee. I would still defer to Claudio. But in terms of Randy Newman songs for wrestling shows, he's the guy I go to.
I mean, the sheer amount of coffee Tony drinks. I've seen him backstage at AEW, and he never does not have a cup of coffee. So he is on a constant coffee IV drip, it feels like. So
I also think, and I'd have to talk to him about this. I naturally also drink a lot of coffee, but I think I am addicted to it the way people are addicted to the physical performance of cigarettes.
Yes.
I think I like holding the cup. It's the security of holding the cup is what it is.
I'm on 5 today,
right?
So I understand that thought process completely.
Yes. Yeah, because if I really want a caffeine, I just take caffeine pills. Right? I could drink YJ Stinger. The fact that I'm drinking this coffee, it has in this cup, and I have to hold it this way, tells me that my parents didn't hold me enough as a child.
That's why we're talking on YouTube right now, right?
That's such the reason. You guys, small note, you guys should put more fire in the background.
I don't think we have enough because it doesn't fit the whole screen. The whole screen would just be too much at that point in time.
I wish I had a filter. It was just my head was on fire. Go ahead.
Speaking of YouTube, please drop your comments. We want to get to any questions you guys may have for RJ. Super chats, go to the front of the line because I'm part of the Conrad Corporation and we are here to get as much as possible all the time. You have to subscribe, though, to become a member who can chat. So please hit subscribe and hop in the chat. We will be taking realistic questions. We will be taking normal questions. And I know in professional wrestling, that is not always going hand in hand. But we are here for semi-normalcy.
Yeah.
RJ.
That's the question. Go ahead, please.
Speaking of normalcy.
Yeah.
One of the favorite parts of the AEW product, in my mind, is that there are times that I don't know what's going to happen. And the unpredictability of AEW. It's not just creative. You brought up music, but this is a company that's run by professional wrestling fans that are fans of professional wrestling, and we are not trying to serve one voice, one thought process, one reason. How fun is it to be involved in a company that does preach wrestling?
There are, I would say, a collection of wrestlers and crew and creative people and people who have been in the business for decades who all had the same dream. And for a variety of reasons, they were broken dreams. They were dead ends. They were not possible. The reality turned out not to be the case. And you build up a lot of resentment. And it's a lot of people who tried to think outside the box, tried to do things that they thought were new or fresh or right, and they weren't able to. And to be able to roam free in AEW and do that creates this bizarre kind of energy. It's very taking your pants off and running through a field. You're like, I'm free. I can go wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. It's so nice when wrestlers are so talented, but when they connect to things that they've always wanted to do, or when they're given the freedom to do things that they hadn't even thought of before this, I think it's fantastic. It's been great for wrestling, obviously, the industry in general, but there are so many things. I mean, I've been there over 3 years now. I look back on it, I go, I only could have done this in AEW.
Yeah.
And I also think, we've been around for 6 years-ish now. And you start to see, obviously, compared to literally every other company, the advantage they had was time, that they've just been around for longer. But now, 6 years in, if you were 12 when AEW started, you're 18 now.
Yep.
So it is possible to watch AEW and dream about going to AEW. So that stuff, like seeing all of that turn the corner and seeing this toddler start to become a preteen, and I'm talking about a company, I'm aware of that, is nice. It's really, I'm proud of everyone there despite their best effort.
Despite their best efforts. Yeah. Your best effort at Starcast is going to be this brunch. Yeah. When you think of it, sitting down with Renee and being on a stage show, what is the first thing that pops in your head that you want to make sure you guys do in Dallas?
Well, I have to do all the heavy lifting.
Well, of course.
Because I'm neurotic, and also Renee's, the showpiece, the stand up and wave, the Kathy Lee. That show ran on Regis. That's all I'm going to say. There's a reason she left and he continued on.
I can't imagine why she didn't want to do this.
Well, because she doesn't want to face the truth. It's not about why she doesn't want to do this, because you didn't ask her.
That's the reasoning.
My God. So I have a bunch of I can show you, and maybe I could read one of the jokes or a couple of them, because not all of them will make it.
No.
So far, and I have not put everything together. I'm just writing. I have this much material.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. And then bits and a format. Okay. And a lot of it are just jokes. Do you want me to do one?
I'm gonna throw this up on the screen first for you to take a look at.
Please.
RJ is scared of the Mox.
I am. Yeah, and why wouldn't you be?
If you're not, there's a problem with you.
Yeah.
If you're not.
The first time I met him, he hit me on Dynamite. He just struck me. And then the next time I saw him, I don't know how he agreed to do Hey, but he was the 100th episode of Hey. And I was also terrified. My back was covered in sweat by the end of
it. I understand that. I grew up with John on the Indies, and John, even back then, was intense before this evolution of John. So I credit you for not running off stage.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I think it's a brave thing I'm doing.
Yes. Now, the line, the joke, the bit.
What do you want here? There's just so much.
I mean, I'll tell you what my highlight is already of what you send me. And I'm not going to say the names or anything like that.
Right.
But the opener.
Oh, you like the opener? Well, so all this is, Renee and I will come out and open the show. And
as you guys always do.
As we always do, we'll have some sort of ceremonial brunch, ritualistic thing. And then we will have a variety of guests in a variety of capacities. And the list I sent you, I'm not even sure if that's all there's going to be. Since we've spoken, there's people who want in on the show.
Of course.
So
and I'm sure they will after this too.
Yes, I'm doing a really good job. There'll be perhaps a live Hey. There may be a live close-up. You may see some personality out of Renee. It's wild. I'm
not touching that one. Nope.
Full disclosure, we are getting paid for this in Stan Hansen 8x10s.
Oh, yeah, about that.
Fuck.
Yeah. He's not going to be able to see him.
Here we go. It's time for everybody's favorite game show, NXT Superstar or Name of a Car. Isn't that bad?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. AEW, we're the best wrestle and where we don't. It's amazing being here at Starcast. Nothing captures the magic of professional wrestling quite like peeing next to Big Boom AJ. They say never meet your heroes. If you want to find out why today, go up to your favorite wrestler and ask them what podcast they listen to. It's all fun and games until the conspiracy theories come out.
If you ever, okay, for anyone who doesn't understand how this all works, when it all ends and everyone ends up back at the hotel, that's where the real entertainment begins. Because once they get a couple glasses of wine in them, maybe a couple cocktails, then it starts going down a path that you think you are going to expect, and then a right hand turn comes out of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just down the hill quickly.
Yeah. Not that
Yeah.
we're exactly on the top of the hill now, but
No, but sometimes it goes quicker than sometimes they even expect.
I think you can expect an assortment of former champions.
Yes.
Not former stars, current
Don't
stars.
do that. Yes.
And who knows? Maybe some old wrestling legends. You never know who we will yell at and can walk by at any point.
And mind you, everyone's going to be arriving for the convention at the same time. So,
right.
Anybody who just is walking by, they might actually walk onto the stage by accident.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's Big Show and it's Stan Hansen and Kerry Von Erich wondering, how the hell did we get here?
Yeah.
So
Tito Santana asking if he could get a bagel.
I mean, he's getting a payday, isn't he? He's announced.
Right? And they'll be good bagels. When I think of Texas, I think of quality bagels.
The water down. No, can't make water joke in Texas.
Oh, boy. Boy. This is the heat portion.
Yeah, this is the timing of not knowing, what 12 hours ago was compared to now.
We will have a moment of silence for my career.
Nope, not touching that one. Nope.
Excellent.
Nope. Speaking of your career, you have been rumored to be involved in certain aspects of AEW.
Sure.
Some on the high end of things, and some, RJ's just there to make sure that Renee looks good for catering. Right. And for me, I think the highlight of watching your evolution is that you are a wrestling fan and you believe in professional wrestling and the flexibility of doing things. The creative process, as you already mentioned, is free flowing in AEW compared to elsewhere. How much fun is it to be able to give nooks, crannies, ideas, and not have them be completely laughed out of a room?
It's actually, I think, more terrifying. The leeway is so bizarre. I mean, you think about the frightening when Toni Storm first started doing her films, she had me introduce them.
Yes.
Give them that cinephile quality. And the first thing I said was, hello, I'm not Ben Mankiewicz.
Yes.
It was a line that came to me, and I had free, clearance to say it, and I said it, and lo and behold, TCM tweets us. They're happy to be referenced on a show where the audience is below the age of 75. And next thing you know, it turns into this beautiful relationship between AEW and TCM. And we've had Ben Mankiewicz on the show multiple times.
Yes.
How insane. But that kind of power is terrifying.
Yes.
To say, hey, for this small nugget of time, we're on TBS. You can kind of say whatever you want. Some people abuse that privilege.
Yes.
I'm sure not everything goes over well.
No.
You have to have your own. I would say the people who have the most discipline in themselves seem to succeed in that environment, because you can't just say whatever you want all the time. But it's beautiful, and it's. I know you're trying to say something positive, and so am I, but it's very terrifying. It makes me very nervous. It's just like driving a car for the first time. You're like, I can go anywhere.
To me, the positivity is that something that never would have been imagined, like referencing TCM, and then the evolution of Tony getting to red carpets.
Yeah.
Would have never been a possibility.
Yeah.
In the other place. And to me, that's the growth of business now. We're not going to them saying, hey, we want to do this. How can we do this? It is, hey, this is a funny bit. And then all of a sudden it turns into this, that, and then now look at her. She's on red carpets.
And not only that, I think of the Young Bucks getting shoes and Swerve getting shoes. And Mox doing a sponsorship with athletic non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
That stuff is so ridiculous.
Yep. Dustin Rhodes getting coffee.
Right? Claudio's coffee is excellent.
Yes.
All of that is nuts to see. It makes so much sense, yet it has not been possible for so long. So it's hard to believe it's happening.
When you think about those beginning vignettes with Tony and sitting in that room and shooting them, did you ever have any idea? We are, I think, 2 or maybe 2.5 years later, where that would even achieve to be, let alone actually accomplish.
No, I think if you look back on all that stuff, her evolution seems quite gradual. It seems like a little bit over time, where it was like, what do they say when you boil a frog slowly, they don't realize they're even in boiled water because it happens so slowly. It's like that, where you're like, it's not like she just went away and came back fully formed.
Right.
It was like every week was like a little more and a little more and a little more. But then, it's hard to think of her any other way now.
Yep.
You can't believe those are the same people.
The phenomenon.
And when she came back as, Tony time at the beginning of this year, it was quite frankly alarming.
Yep.
To realize, like, oh my God, she's been speaking a different way this time. And we're used to it. And in my interactions with her, I can confidently say the person I knew at the beginning of this has entirely disappeared. I've not close up, on a weekly basis, that woman is gone. Yeah, it's something that is, what's going on with her is bigger than all of us.
I agree with that.
Let me put it that way.
And knowing that it started from just sitting in a hotel room with you.
Yeah.
Like, it's
well, I wouldn't frame it like that. Yeah. But no, it is crazy to think about, because you do not realize it at the time. Yep. And I also, again, I will go back to that's the value of just being able to try shit and go where you want to go. And you're like, where does it lead? I don't know. But if we didn't have, a company like this, it just wouldn't be happening.
Right. I mean, you think about when she left and how she left and what her, what her outgoing story was. And then now all of a sudden, all right, I got to put that up. That's good. A night in RJ City.
Really nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's
really, really nice.
That sounds like a podcast to me.
It sounds like a DVD set that PBS would be selling.
I don't know if that one's ever going to make it to TCM. All right. I got another question for you. All In.
Yeah.
Is the big
When's
moment.
That?
It is Saturday.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You do not have a stage show set up against that.
Well, I do. We have a 2-hour 0 hour.
Right. The 0 hour, but you're not up against it.
No. But it's, we're doing a lot. Are we up against JBL's Texas show while we're doing 0 hour?
The 0 hour at noon Texas time?
Yeah.
No, that'll be over by 11.
Okay, so what's on at 12?
I don't want to answer that question.
You can't say, because it's so good, or is it so bad?
There's a gap in our schedule that says between noon and 12, nothing.
Excellent.
So I'm
hoping we are nothing. Yeah.
I'm hoping that means 0 hour is what's going on.
Excellent.
Because we do have the convention floor open to 2.
Right.
So you're up against the convention. I don't know who's going to be signing, but it's going to be spectacular.
But you can still watch 0 hour on your phone. It'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern. On YouTube, on Twitter, I'm not calling it X, on Facebook, on Prime. So theoretically, you can watch it on your phone in line to meet Tito Santana. And
is it 1, 2? Is Texas time Central?
Texas time is Central. So all I know is that it's 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so it's 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. 2 p.m. I need to know these things to tell my mother when I'm.
Yeah.
It'll be me. It'll be Renee. It'll be Jeff Jarrett, Uncle Jeff, and a bevy of special guests. It is 2 hours long, meaning the pay-per-view starts at 3 Eastern. I've seen our mini set and it is beautiful. It is adorable. I have a cream-colored suit, which I think is going to throw off the white balance of the cameras, which I'm also
100%.
looking forward to. And we're doing, I will say, people who tune into 0 Hour might think, oh, it's just going to be recaps and blah, blah, blah. We're filming all new stuff for it. Very excited. Interviews with a lot of people, hip happenings. And then, of course, there will be some matches. It wouldn't be 0 Hour if we didn't give a mini pay-per-view away for free.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
And X or Twitter and Facebook. Not on Instagram yet, though, right?
But Prime. No,
Prime,
we can do vertical. You can't watch this shit vertical.
Yeah, you can't watch it
Come
on Instagram. But the hold on. Any steers on the set?
No. Just a few queers.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, good. I'm glad we're on the same page with setting up that joke we did not know we were going to talk about today. So, All In. It is the biggest United States pay-per-view for AEW in the history of the company.
Yes. Attendance-wise, gate-wise, match-wise.
All of it.
Yeah.
When you think about when you joined the company to now, stadium shows, the idea of 80,000 at Wembley, going back to Wembley next year, it's surreal to think about it, isn't it?
Yeah. It is really surreal to be like, oh, we've done so many of these now. It feels like so many, as opposed to just one or two. And to already know that we're going to go back to Wembley next year is crazy. This is great for us. It seems to be a success by every measure so far. And I also think Texas has a decent walk up. These people wear cowboy boots. They mosey in, which is fantastic. And I think about the matches, and you're like, oh my God, what a ridiculous, what a fantasy card made by a 12-year-old this show is.
It's inside wrestling.
Yes.
Come to life.
Yes. This is the best of every kind of wrestling.
Inside Wrestling, by the way, was a magazine that was 20.
I remember. I also remember. Do you remember Wow magazine?
I do remember Wow. It was all pictures and color, and it was
gigantic, and it was embossed on the cover, and it was too expensive, and you're like, no wonder they went out of business.
Yeah, and the first cover was Taz as ECW champion, and by the time it came out, he was already in the WWE. Yeah, that was just one of those moments. Yes, I was not referencing it for you.
Thank you.
Our younger audience may not actually know what Inside Wrestling was, as sad as that is to say nowadays. But Inside Wrestling was part of the Apter family. But when you think about it, it is a super card. To me, the match I'm most interested in, Jon Moxley, Hangman Adam Page. Will we see the AEW title again? Is there anyone left for Adam Page to take out in this Texas death match to get over and reclaim the AEW championship from Jon Moxley? Can anyone stop the Death Riders? And then you have Mercedes and Tony Storm. What a gigantic match. Two unmatched characters in this company. And when you think about the top two matches, it's 4 unmatched characters. And we haven't even gotten the Young Bucks.
Yeah. Or Okada and Omega.
Omega.
Yeah.
You think about everything that's built on this card. It makes sense why it's a stadium show.
Oh my God. Absolutely. This is I hate talking in these terms because they are overused, but it is so unprecedented to have a card like this. Not for just AEW, but wrestling in general. The Casino Gauntlet really feels like a signature AEW match now.
Yes.
Where you really don't know what you're going to get, and it could go a lot of different ways. I think it's cool that we're having a men's one and a women's one on the same card. I am also very, very interested in the match that was made last night, being Kyle Fletcher and Adam Cole.
Yeah.
I think that's great. That's one of those matches where I'm like, this could end up being just the best match of the show.
Absolutely. And you think about, all right, I'll take this shot.
Please.
Lack of story.
Mm-hmm.
The story's there.
Yeah.
Between Kyle and Adam, there's a story for everything on this show. So
sure.
Not really sure why everybody keeps saying there's no stories, but I want to talk to you about something that didn't have a lot of story. What happened on this date in 1998?
Oh.
At the Georgia Dome.
Yeah.
the biggest Nitro there ever was, right?
Mm-hmm.
The highest drawing card, highest gate, inflation and ticket prices and fees and all that. And you look at what the top 4 matches were. Yeah, Goldberg, Hogan, Lex Luger and Sting taking on Kidman and Sick Boy, DDP, Jim Neidhart, and the Giant and Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
And then you compare that to AEW's All In. I don't know. Something doesn't seem.
Well, I do. We do talk about this a lot. And I think we as a company really started talking about it a lot when we ended up, whatever episode that was where we had more episodes than Nitro.
280 something, I think it was.
And it's nuts to think the saying was that we're in uncharted waters.
That is correct.
WCW did not exist by this point. And not only do we exist, but we have momentum, I guess. It's a fucking awful word to use. Shit's going all right. People are making money. People are eating. That's fucking great. That's really what I mean to say. Some people seem to be enjoying the show. And you're like, wow, this is, again, to have the freedom to no one's been here before. So we have nothing to even compare it to right now. I will say, looking back on Attitude Era stuff, Monday Night Wars, the business is a lot different now in the sense that they were on, before Thunder, they were on 2 hours a week.
Yep.
With a pay-per-view maybe, every couple months?
Yeah.
But now we're on 4 hours a week at least. And then you can even factor in, and Ring of Honor, and then the pay-per-views and certain specials. And, a lot of our top names are on almost every show twice a week in some form. And I think it says a lot about, their power. And I look back at a Steve Austin, who comparatively had a short run at the top.
Yeah.
That Attitude Era seemed really high and then blew out.
Everybody seems to forget it was only 3 years.
Right. And I think because we love nostalgia, because it makes us feel like we're 8 again. But it is crazy to look back on like that. And I know the thing is always this business runs in cycles. And to an extent, that's true. But also I don't know, we could just keep trying to get good, and keep trying to get better and finding new ways of getting better. And I think Tony Khan has that same philosophy. And I think about what a success Grand Slam Mexico was.
Yeah.
How cool that. It's also nuts to be that wasn't a pay-per-view. Wasn't All In.
It was a TV show.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it tells you just, I guess, how much the business model of everything has changed since the days of yore.
Yeah. Speaking of the days of yore, we got a super chat.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Hey, RJ, do you think Tony acts more like a friend than a boss?
Wonderful question. I guess we're talking about Tony Khan and not Tony Schiavone.
I have to assume that, but I can't imagine Tony acts like a friend.
I will say, comparatively to other bosses in the history of wrestling, he acts like a friend, because I think this was a very cruel business. At some point, and I'll say it's our generation, my generation, said, hey, let's stop being bullies all the time.
And carnies, maybe?
Let's stop being bullies and carnies. Although sometimes it's in the fabric of the business. But I remember, from when I first started, and then people before me, this business has gotten a little nicer overall, probably to its credit, because people who are mean are just usually holding people down for whatever reason. I think it's wrong to say he's a friend. He gets framed as being too nice. And I think, first of all, probably because the alternatives are people who have never been nice in their fucking lives. He is genuinely a fan of wrestling.
Yes.
In an unimaginable way. And he never gets enough of it, which keeps everything running.
Going.
But I will also say, this is one of 3 full-time jobs he has. I don't know how he gets even one of them done.
If you look at his Twitter bio, I'm pretty sure it's more than 3.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And it's not like he's not there either. So
he's there every show. I think people have it in the head of like, oh, he sets us up and then just whatever. He is there every show, every match, all the time. That's not a friend. I always want to be, if you do good business, I want to be friends with you.
Yeah.
But we don't go fishing.
Right. And I've worked in professional wrestling now for 25 years. I have worked for the scum of the earth.
Yeah.
And I've worked for really good people. And the main difference I've always come across is the good people are the people that want you to succeed and will give you the tools to do so. Mm. The shit people you work for want to milk you for every dollar there is, if you're even getting paid, to be able to make sure I'm going to burn them to the fullest extent of whatever I can get out of them. Then I'm going to throw them away.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being a good person.
Yeah. I think
compared to.
Yeah. And I don't even say even good person is like, he's not Mother Teresa.
No.
But I mean, like, not vindictive, not a piece of shit, a genuinely, earnest, passionate, enthusiastic person. And that's, I think at that level, a rarity. And that's probably why it gets misrepresented sometimes as like a friend. But he is just like, I don't understand how he gets it done, but he gets it done every time. And if he didn't do it, none of us would be doing it.
And I don't know if you'd be watching enough professional wrestling content today if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
I'll sit here and say, without nostalgia, I wouldn't be talking to you because I wouldn't be working for Conrad. And if he didn't expose that into the business, but there was a reason why nostalgia worked in 18 and 19, because the wrestling business was at its fucking bottom creatively.
Right.
And I'll say that, and I'll say it loud and yell it, but it was at its bottom. The indies were shit.
Yeah.
Everybody was struggling and no one was having fun. And then we all know what the story has happened after that. But any business, if you are excited about your job and your boss is excited about it, and he's the guy you feed your energy off of, if he came in every day and was fucking miserable, no one would be having fun. It's no difference in the real world or professional wrestling, that type of attitude. And I think everyone now has this ascertained feeling of, yeah, but he's not angry and he's not gruff and he's not, firing you for no reason. That's how a business should be run. In no world is a business run like that in 2025, let alone 25 years ago.
Yes. I think you're seeing, the first like modern wrestling boss. Yeah. And I hope things continue to break in his direction.
Same.
Yeah.
Like he's not this narrative of he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm pretty confident at this point everyone can put that to bed.
Yeah. Although I would disagree. I would say none of us know what we're doing. I would say that's the joy of it. We don't know. It reminds me a lot of and it is like Saturday Night Live in a sense. And I think he would agree we're just going to get up to bat and try to hit the ball.
And do the best you can.
Yes, that's it. And also, you realize, and again, it's similar to Saturday Night Live. The old thing was the show doesn't go on because it's ready. The show goes on because it's 11:30.
Yep, it's scheduled to go.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing every week people do the absolute best with what they have. And whether that's good or bad, even when it doesn't hit, there's a charm to it.
Yeah. And I think we're better off in professional wrestling with it than without it. And people need to start enjoying it. And you're going to enjoy Starcast. You are going to enjoy.
You're going to enjoy seeing Tito Santana eating a granola bar.
How can you not? Yeah. Where else can you but Starcast? And where else are you going to have brunch with Renee Paquette?
Right.
And RJ City.
I mean, unless maybe Toronto, you walk in the streets of Toronto and we're sitting there and you sit down and whatever. But other than that.
How often do you guys have brunch together?
It's funny. We were talking about this a while ago. We rarely socialize. We spend so much time working together.
Yeah.
And I'm not even her work husband because she also has a work husband.
And bodyguards around that work husband.
Right. And no one bothers her. So
Obviously.
She's sick of me completely outside of work.
working with Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah. Yes.
And Renee.
Yeah.
It's like a balance, right?
Let me talk about my issues with Jeff Jarrett.
Please.
He's such a fucking a machine. He
Yes.
really, really is. The work he puts into all his stuff, but on the 0 hours when he came on board, we get these wonderful fact sheets, stats, win-loss, all that stuff to work into the show. I like to glance at them and read them. If they come up in conversation, they come up. This fucking guy, like 6 a.m., he'll be on the elliptical and he'll be reading it.
Yep.
And he will memorize every stat and then he'll get it all out in one sentence. He doesn't speak with periods. He speaks with commas. And then Renee will look at me and I'm like, yep, it sounds good. I got nothing else to say. Also, I will say we have asked him, since this is such a big deal, All In, to maybe not wear his black My World podcast polo for once in his life.
No.
Yeah. You could put a gun to his head and say, take that thing off, and he would take it off and reveal another one.
Another one.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I think the shirt has now shrunk in size and he is continuing on. Yeah. I can speak from experience about Jeff Jarrett's preparedness.
Yes.
If anyone is unaware, the infamous fight between Conrad and Jeff Jarrett about Steve Austin and that promo was because of me. Excellent. And if you have not seen that episode, go out of your way. It's fun. I was fired and rehired within a span of 12 minutes in 4 different emails. So Jeff takes his shit seriously and does not want to be unprepared. No. We got another super chat. I'm going to ask this question. Do you have another 15 minutes?
I do. Let's fucking do it.
Okay. AOTV Productions. One of the biggest critics of AEW has been Jim Cornette. Have you heard any of his criticisms, and are any of them valid?
There's a lot of people whose business model is to be critical of AEW, and I don't say that to invalidate all his criticisms, but I understand his business. I understand he's got to have a show every week, and it's an easy thing to do to talk about a show that's already on, and it's easy to find fault with a lot of stuff or to take an angle of I don't like this kind of whatever. The same way you wouldn't like a certain kind of comedy, and then you know it's always going to be that comedy, so you can always make the same points. He has said alarmingly nice things about me.
Oh.
And I don't know how to take it. The thing he said was that I'm too funny for wrestling. Which tells you how low he insists his bar be at. That like this guy, he's hilarious. Get him out of here. I'm sure some of them are fair. Sure. But I also understand the business model of I have a show every week. It's fine. I did yell at him on Twitter once because he made a old school wrestling to Broadway analogy. And he was really wrong about the Broadway part. So as a theater aficionado, I had to speak up.
So not about the wrestling aspect.
Right.
The Broadway. Was about the
theater. Well, he was the evidence he was using was incorrect.
Did he respond to you?
Yeah. So something to the effect of "fuck your mother," and you're like, "Well, I think we've won here." You know.
I don't feel like you're in the business now if you don't get motherfucked by Jim on Twitter.
Right.
I think it's a requirement.
Yeah, I think he should change his tone a little. I want to see him take a risk creatively and do demure Jim Cornette. I challenge him to alter the genre a little.
You know how this works though. Once you're on TV, you can't deviate from it. I remember, you'll love this reference.
Yeah.
Trent Acid.
Yes.
We're in a locker room and Billy Kidman on SmackDown did his finish. Trent walked in the locker room the weekend after and said, I'm never doing that move again. It's on TV. It's not mine anymore. You can't. That's the thought process in this business.
Sure.
You find something, you're going to keep running in the ground.
Yeah.
But the more Jim Cornette.
Well, I also feel like it's hard because to respond to him is to feed into that system.
And working the gimmick.
Exactly. So it's a win-win for him.
Yep.
And I don't have any animosity towards him. It's not, I wish the insults were a little better.
Yeah.
I think they could be a little tighter. That's just me as someone who's too funny for wrestling. But you realize like, oh, the best response is probably no response. And also we're so busy with AEW and trying to make it good. And it's very difficult to make it good. And he would know. He's run many wrestling promotions, all with varying degrees of success. It's not easy. So I think one of the best things has been how busy we are at AEW to just
block out the noise.
Not even have time to address that. What do you want me to say?
When you think, okay, varying degrees of success. I mean, we can say it, can't we? Like,
well, I mean, sure. I mean, he's one of the greatest managers of all time. We can say 100%. All these wonderful things, and a wonderful historian too.
Yep.
He has some VHSs of Man Mountain Dean I would like to borrow.
Right. Dark Side of the Ring doesn't happen without him. Like, he's an integral part of exposing that end of the business.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between him being able to say that and then going on Twitter and, double onion, motherfucker? There's not much.
No, but I also think, he's perfectly fine to say that. Right. I enjoy good criticism. There are people who take their criticism seriously as opposed to just writing, oh, this is shit. And we'll explain why and whatever, like movie critics, theater critics, like that's, as someone who has criticized so many 90s sitcoms, it would be wrong of me to say you can't do that.
Right.
But I don't think Steven Weber should be reading my opinions on Wings and answering them.
No. And, wait a minute. Are you derogatory towards Wings?
No, I'm very complimentary. I just don't think, other than it being Cheers in an airport.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the concept.
Right. Yeah. I don't think they were hiding that.
They just never got to Norm. It just didn't. It never clicked with Norm. Never clicked with Norm. So, from someone who took a musician's money and it didn't work out and then he lost it all, to someone who now sits behind a microphone and talks about professional wrestling, he's earned his place, has he not?
Let's move on from Jim Cornette. Let's talk about Rick Rubin a little.
Oh, please.
Since you just mentioned him, I thought we could elevate the conversation a little.
Yeah.
And go beyond Jim and talk about Rick Rubin. Some of his, the whole I post on Instagram and then I delete it thing, I think we can calm down here. People are reposting it. People are screenshotting it. People are posting it on other like Rick Rubin fan sites.
Yeah.
So the ethereal nature of it's there and then it's gone doesn't even work. That's just an appearance thing, number one. Number two, a lot of it sounds like the Sphinx from Mystery Men. These riddles, and you're like, are you enlightened or are you just confusing? You're lost until you find yourself. And okay. It's one of those things that sounds great in passing. And then if you stop and you close your eyes, you go, this doesn't make any sense.
No. But, it's that air of mysteriousness, right? That's the gimmick.
Right. Which also my counterpoint is I will never take any enlightened advice from somebody who's a wrestling fan.
Right. Or someone who may have accidentally tweeted something to someone at one point in time that was high up in another office and, might have opened the door on something. But we're going to move on from Rick Rubin. And
no. Let's go back because he also produced many wonderful albums, but then also produced like one or two Andrew Dice Clay albums.
Yeah.
Like, what were you doing there? It's like, Andrew, can you go, oh, again, that was great. We got it. Good.
Listen, there has been nothing more of a resurgence for me than watching Baby podcast and now Andrew Dice Clay in baby form on TikTok of just doing Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet. Like he was well before his time.
Sure. Absolutely.
Essay. But anyway.
He was so stupid so early.
It really, you want a microcosm of 1989? It's Andrew Dice Clay, and not Ian Dice Clay, one of my favorite Twitter followers.
Yes.
Who is by far just someone who knows that talk about timing and comedic timing. That guy knows when to tweet about some certain things. But let's get back to AEW.
Please.
What are you looking forward to most on the card of All In?
Oh boy. It is really hard for me not to say Mercedes and Tony Storm. Just because I think it's incredible that they've been apart in AEW for so long.
Yes.
And you think that would be one of the first things you would go to because there were so many. Why wouldn't you put them together? And they went separate ways. And now they're coming together. And it is like really first time ever. I think the only other time they wrestled was like a tag or a three-way like 10 years ago.
I think it was a 3-minute tag on SmackDown.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm also really excited for like the women's casino gauntlet. I think the roster is deep.
So deep.
Very deep. I think they're ready to work. I think knowing how these shows go, there's always a few surprises. Maybe Nigel McGuinness will show up in the women's casino gauntlet. Who knows?
Just as long as Oasis doesn't play, right?
Right. Well, now.
Yeah.
Right? Now they're going to charge even more for it.
100%. They're back on tour for now.
Yes. That I can't even say I'm excited for Hangman and Mox because I'm worried about it.
Yeah. The added stipulation is
sure. And everyone was saying, "Oh, Hangman beat him before in the Texas Death Match," and it's like, yeah, but Mox beat him in a 4-way like 6 months ago.
Yep.
And if anyone is capable of disappointing every wrestling fan,
it's Jon Moxley.
It's Jon Moxley, and not giving a shit about it,
relishing in it.
Yeah, I mean he's been, maliciously intent on dominating everyone, and he's done it, and you just go, oh my god! If it feels like either there's a scenario you want, and then there's a scenario you're very afraid of, but you're believing in the plausibility of both.
One of my favorite things about the course of Mox is that Jon Moxley ended the career of one of his best friends.
Yeah.
In Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And has made mention of it once.
Yeah.
Since then. The TV right after that. And he moved on.
Yeah.
That to me, one of those aspects of that story, Claudio, he took Danielson's protege in Yuta. And everyone's like, but what's the story? That's the story.
Yeah.
Moxley doesn't give a shit. He took
right.
Marina Shafir and exposed her to an element that no one really knew the level she could accomplish, and she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
If you don't see it, then you're just saying you don't want to see it because it's all right there in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very interested. Again, I go back to it. Kyle Fletcher and Adam Cole.
And we still have Okada Omega. Winner takes all. On United States soil. Yeah. It's two of the best wrestlers in the history of the business.
Yeah. And I go back to like that match and Cole and Fletcher being the matches that we mentioned 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Makes you go, oh, this could just be the greatest pay-per-view ever.
And you have MJF and Mystico. Mystico, one of the greatest stars in Mexican wrestling history. Yeah. And it's only 2 of the 3 guys announced for the gauntlet. Mm-hmm. We don't even have a woman announced for the women's gauntlet yet.
Oh, we do. We have Statlander.
Sorry, Statlander. But
number 1. Yeah.
That's it. And you sit here and think about the roster, like you said, how deep it is. It's Athena's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder
Rosa's hometown.
Does she get past Thunder Rosa at Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, not up against Wrestle Alliance Brunch?
Right.
So you think about, and again, the Young Bucks, Swerve, Ospreay, 4 of the best wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Their 7th that we mentioned, 8th.
Yeah.
Tell me another card that's been
and Claudio challenged the Optic Trios. We don't even know who. I guess it'll be Claudio, Yuta, and then we got this insane triple tag team match.
Triple threat match. Yep.
Hard not to pull for Christian and Nick Wayne. I think they're going to come out to Cat's Cradle by Harry Chapin, and I'm so thrilled if they do. Talk about if there's a song that I could throw $20 on the table towards, it would be that one for them.
Christian, we don't have FTR announced.
Yeah.
We don't know the status of, the roster.
Mm-hmm.
And we still are a week away, and we're breaking down this card, and it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
How can anyone be upset about this?
There are many, many, many ways. It's in the afternoon in the hot Texas sun. Right? I'm hoping the air conditioning is okay. I hope I don't get a tuxedo tan line. What?
Are we offering deodorant?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Maybe with brunch.
Ooh.
Yeah. Wouldn't be bad.
That might start running out of the budget.
I will say it's great that it's in the afternoon and then no one has to go to bed too late. This feels like one of those old afternoon pay-per-views.
And I think everybody forgets like the biggest shows in Dallas. When you take a look back at Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair, it's in sunlight.
Yeah. And it's a
sunlight.
Beautiful atmosphere because of that.
It's the old line about Texas Stadium, they keep the roof open so God can look down upon you.
Yeah.
May not fit nowadays, but sunlight, the atmosphere, the stadium is one of the most beautiful stadiums in all of baseball. Yeah. And then you think about what it's going to be. Just order the pay-per-view.
My hope is that Glenn Goza will join us on 0 Hour.
Is that a tease?
No, it should be now. Can I look him up and see how long he's been dead for at least?
If you get a stand-up cardboard of him.
There's no death here for Glenn Goza. That upsets me.
Wait a minute. Are you sure about that?
I mean, how old did he look when he did wrestling?
No. Are you just typing in the name wrong?
No, Glenn Goza. I know how to spell Glenn Goza.
No way.
That's a shame.
No, wait, hold on. Wait. Do you think that's him on Twitter? No.
No way that's him.
No.
He has to be dead, right?
Yeah, like there's
who would know?
I mean, would you like me to reach out to David Manning?
Would not be imprudent of you,
right? Like, could this be okay? Hold on, I got to put this up. Efren, thank you. RASSLIN. I know there's 36 people watching us right now. There's 35 people that don't know what we're talking about. But Efren, thank you so much. Yeah. I appreciate the fact that you knew the exact reference, and I just that. Have you met Efren before?
Have I met him?
Sure.
Yes, he's. I've never done one of his game shows, and I wish I had. But he's a wonderful stalwart in the community.
Listen, if you don't fall in the community, if you don't fall asleep after the show, I heard there's an after party.
Oh, tonight or All In?
No, All In.
There is an after party. What's going on there? I don't have any information.
I'm going to assume you fall asleep after this show, but at All In, I heard there's an after party, and DJ Turnup supposedly might be there as well. I don't know if that's factual, but it's between 9 and 10:30. So your show will be over by then.
Isn't that amazing to think about? That we're over by 9:30?
Like how? And then it's not like there's anything else going on that night. So like,
that was my dream, and I always pitched it. Matinayhem was my title. So
can we change? I mean, I guess. I guess the branding's out there.
It's not too late. We'll keep the belt buckle, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. RG, what else do we need to hit today?
I don't know. You're the one doing all the things.
I know. I just want to make sure.
AEW every Sunday. Obviously, we're off next Sunday because of the pay-per-view, but we will be back the week after with our 149th episode. WrestleLance. Can we announce? Can we lock that in? Friday, 10 a.m. Texas time? Who's going to yell at me? I'll take the heat. What are they going to do?
It's on the schedule.
Okay, good. We're up against no one except you walking in the building. So get there early.
You don't want to miss it.
Yeah. I assure you, the jokes will be the same no matter how many people are there.
Yeah, no house show jokes.
No house show jokes. You're getting the A-list peeing next to Big Boom A-Chain material.
And just so everyone knows, I don't know how much of this is being recorded. So your only opportunity to see this will be live and in person at Starrcast.
Let me put it like this. I am including some jokes knowing that this won't be streaming.
Then you already know, and we streamed, and I mean, I'll take credit for the Texas water joke at this point in time.
Yes, thank you.
I'll take that heat.
Yes, how wrong things can go.
Yeah, how high. So anyway, we have a ton announced. Starcast.com. You do not want to miss. I believe there are a couple more announcements. I heard Ric Flair is going to be signing both days. So if you want to catch the Nature Boy, that's the time to do it. Are you doing any signings?
No. Last time I did Starcast, I had a line for 2 hours, and I said, amazing. I never want to do another one again. If you come to the show, I will sign shit.
Okay. Which
Only
show?
if you come to my show.
Okay, just want to make sure.
If you come to the Wrestle Ants Brunch and Variety Show, you're going to get a bagel.
Schmear.
You're going to get coffee. You're going to get a schmear. And you're going to be disappointed. What do you think when we finish this episode? What quote will be aggregated on wrestling websites?
God, there's a couple. Thank God it went out live. That much I'll say, because there's no backtracking. I'll say the Jim Cornette line probably gets a little feedback.
I will say it's Tony Khan is not Mother Teresa.
Yeah, that or I mean, on Fightful within the next hour is going to be RJ City said Tony Khan's the best boss he ever worked for.
Right. And Steven Weber's a piece of shit.
And Steven Weber's a piece of shit.
Yes.
Past that, I mean, follow RJ City 1 on X, Twitter.
Go watch the latest AEW that just came out this morning with Megan Bain, Penelope Ford.
You will get more Wing Bowl conversation than I ever expected anyone outside of anyone who lives in Philadelphia would ever mention. So kudos to Penelope for even walking down that road and answering that. High Life, thank you, fuck you, no need for you. We'll leave that comment off the screen because there's no need for it. Listen,
I'm going to click on it now so I can read it.
Yeah, I will. I'll screenshot that.
Let me. I have my phone.
Oh,
here.
you have the live feed going?
Yeah. Let me look.
No feedback on that one.
Oh, but I also love how his name is Z High Life and then X.
Yeah.
He sounds like a cool guy.
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
And his picture is him with an umbrella on his penis. Leave him alone.
My hat's off
to him. He sounds like a real hip fella.
You think that's his umbrella?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't turn your phone.
Don't turn your phone. Yeah. And make sure you get your tickets for Starcast.com. Make sure you tune in. If you can't be there in Dallas, you don't want to miss it. You have Collision. You have Supercard of Honor. You have All In Texas. You have Starcast. You have an after party. And you have the brunch to end all brunches.
Yeah, bigger, better, bruncher.
That's the tagline. That's it. Thank you, RJ, for joining us here. Thank you. Make sure you head over to Starcast.com. You don't want to miss any of this. And when this goes ripped off the internet and posted up to be aggregated, I'm going to tell you this. If you got to watch this live, it's a good thing. Don't know how long it's going to be up for afterwards. But in the meantime, Starcast.com. Follow RJ City 1. I'm Derek Sabato, and we're desperately out of time. Thank you all for joining us here on Podcast Heat.
Don't bother Renee. I just wanted to remind everyone.
Don't bother Renee. Yeah. Sweetest woman alive. Don't bother her. PodcastHeatWrestling.com. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And maybe we'll see RJ back soon. Never.
It's
going to be one and done, I can tell. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great night.